Welcome back, pod people. And today, my guest is John Johnson, the director of Zebulon Pike and the Blue Mountain and Curse of the Blue Lights. This is a special episode because we are recording here in the Pueblo library, and Mr. Johnson and myself both live here in Pueblo, and both of those movies were filmed in Pueblo and the surrounding environments.
That's right.
And so my first question for you is about Curse of the Blue Lights, which makes use of a sort of local Pueblo bit of folklore,
right,
which is the blue lights.
Right.
And so, sort of two-parter thing. Could you tell us the tale of
Where
the blue
it came
lights?
from?
Yeah.
When I was in high school at Central here in Pueblo, the kids would all go out to a teenage parking area called Blue Lights, which actually it's where Pueblo Boulevard crosses the Arkansas right now, that big wide area. But all of my films utilize information about Pueblo and Southern Colorado history. Another film that I made was Damon Runyon's Pueblo, which was all shot in Pueblo.
Yeah, that one I haven't actually managed to find a copy to watch yet.
Yeah, they've got a couple here.
Oh, good. Here at the library.
They got all my films.
Oh, well, then I'll check that out as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
So I have asked a few people here in Pueblo who are older than me and like grew up here, because I moved here a few years ago, what the story of the Blue Lights is, and all of them were able to go like, oh, I remember that. We would go we would park out there, and it was like a popular makeout point, but they couldn't actually remember what the story was.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of good stories about it, but supposedly there's blue lights that haunt that area of the Arkansas because, there's a train accident or who knows what it is, but it came about because I needed something local that would, draw these kids out to this area, and then that's how they get involved in the whole plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my follow-up question about that is, the Curse of the Blue Lights really seems to be set in Pueblo, but then they refer to the town with a different name.
We call it Dudley.
Why is that?
It's just easier if you... when I do historical documentaries, I'm very precise about what I have in there. Like the Zebulon Pike movie is the most accurate representation of an Army group during that period of 1806-07. Matter of fact, those uniforms didn't exist except for plans in the National Archives. But on a feature film, on a narrative film, you can take a lot more, have a lot more freedom if you don't place it in a specific place. But all of my films tie in with local lore and local history.
Yeah. So, speaking of local, making use of the local environment, there are some scenes in Curse of the Blue Lights that are set in a cemetery.
Right.
And some of the headstones that are in those scenes are actual headstones. Oh, yeah. So, I'm curious, why did you go to the trouble of creating a set and populating it with these actual headstones
instead of shooting in an actual cemetery?
Exactly.
Well, we initially shot it in some of the Pueblo cemeteries. As a matter of fact, the city of Pueblo was very willing to dig us a grave if we wanted it. And
my goodness!
I don't think so. Pueblo's been very helpful in my movie making.
Wow.
But we shot some stuff, and I was doing it day for night, and we looked at it, and it wasn't bad. But then we have one bit in the movie where a guy gets pulled down into a grave.
Yeah.
And we shot that in a controlled environment in what was then our studio. It's the Ferguson Plumbing Company on Santa Fe.
Right.
And because we could control the lighting and the amount of smoke and so forth, it was just so far superior that we scrapped all of the day for night stuff.
Yeah.
And reshot everything on our own set under controlled under controlled lighting. It's just so much better.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed about it. Is it's a very dark movie, and Yeah, I'm always, whenever I ask somebody about, like, why did you choose to shoot this on location and why did you choose to shoot this on a set, because we could control the lighting is by far the most common answer.
Yeah. You just have so much more control when you're in a room, and you can control, the lighting and the smoke and so forth. But yeah.
Yeah. So, for Zebulon Pike and the Blue Mountain, there is this really, perhaps one of the best establishing shots I've ever seen, where the camera orbits around Zebulon Pike.
360.
Yeah, while pointing at the mountains, while a monologue plays, and the monologue describes each of the mountains as they appear on the screen. How many takes did that take?
I think it was 3 or 4. It wasn't too many, but it's a long take.
Yeah.
It lasts probably over a minute or so.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that particular shot in that particular movie kept me in California for 4 years.
Because the people out there were impressed with it?
Well, right after we finished Blue Lights, I moved to California because I wanted to make sure it was distributed properly. And it was handled properly, and instead of being 1,000 miles away, I decided to move out there. And I read an article in the Hollywood Reporter, or maybe it was Variety, by a gentleman by the name of Max Youngstein. And Max Youngstein was one of a group of 5 people that bought United Artists from the original United Artists.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin and them.
And Max had a great storied career. He was not only on the board of United Artists, but he was also the president of Cinerama.
Oh.
And he wrote an article, and it basically said that the film community had to treat new filmmakers with more respect than it did, and instead of seeing them sort of as a reusable resource, which it does, that it should really play fair with them. And I read this, and I thought, I could have written this,
Yeah.
And so I called up his office, and I said, I just wanted to, I thought I was talking to his secretary, and I said, I just wanted to tell Mr. Youngstein that I totally agree with that, because I'm going through this with my own film. And it turned out to be Youngstein's daughter, and she said, do you want to talk to Max himself? And I said, sure. And that began a long friendship. And Max, because of that shot, said, you're a good picture maker. We should do something. So I was in California for a long time.
Yeah, so you mentioned wanting to sort of oversee the distribution of your film.
Right.
How did that process go? I've heard so many complaints about dealing with distributors.
Oh, boy. Yeah. First off, every filmmaker has to realize that you're going into sort of a situation that is stacked for the distributor,
because they have more information than you?
Well, unless you want to do self-distribution, which is, really involved. I think most people would rather be making movies than selling movies.
Yeah.
They're generally pretty exploitive bunch, and they know how to pull the strings to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you always have to go into those negotiations sort of with your eyes open of, what to watch out for.
Yeah. Do you feel that you ultimately were treated fairly, or?
Only because of Max's intervention.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Originally we signed, we've had so many distributors over the years with Blue Lights. Well, actually all my films, but we initially signed the overseas stuff with a company called Amazing Movies, and they handled all the foreign theatrical, which was a whole amazing situation. And then domestically, it was with Magnum Entertainment out of Chatsworth, California.
Okay.
And the selling of a movie is a tale unto itself, because when you make a film, everybody wants to see it, so you get free tickets to get into everywhere because you want to see what you got. And it was amazing going to the American film market, because they would sell all these different territories.
Yeah.
They'd have these big maps of the world, and they would bargain on this, ability to distribute in Italy or Japan or Korea or Germany or wherever.
Yeah.
So it was quite an eye-opener.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So you said that it's a tale in itself. Do you feel like relating part of it?
Yeah, I participated in a number of American film markets, and there's three major markets for feature films worldwide. And one is MIFED, which is in Milan, Italy. It's usually like in October. Then there is the Cannes Film Market, which is associated next door to the Cannes Film Festival.
Right.
It happens in the spring. And then the American Film Market, which seems like it was in February, if I remember right. But you try and sign with an American distributor, and then they basically take it to these world markets. But the one in L.A., it's in Santa Monica, so you can go there and you can just see what's available, what's selling, what the campaigns look like. I mean, it's really an amazing situation. Yeah. That's one part of filmmaking that if anybody out there ever makes a feature, you want to take advantage of it. Take a look, see what it's like.
Yeah. So what's the current status on distributing your films? I know I bought Curse of the Blue Lights directly from you.
Right. I have copies of all of my films. Matter of fact, if you go on the internet or if you go on IMDb, all my films are listed under John Henry Johnson. Supposedly there's a lot of John Johnsons, although I've never met one, but I put
my next
all
door
three
neighbor,
names.
My next door neighbor is named John Johnson.
I need to meet him. I've never met somebody.
Yeah, come by sometime.
Yeah.
But so are they currently?
Everything's current distribution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Matter of fact, I just recently funded myself the Damon Runyon film because I thought it was lost.
Oh.
Because it was made in the late 70s.
Right.
And the release prints that were created during that time, it's a 3-layer thing to create the color.
Right.
And the cyan dye is particularly bad, and it fails over time, so what happens is prints go red.
Oh, interesting.
And so all of the existing prints, including the library here, their prints, had all turned red. I had a print that was in a flood, so that was wiped out. The writer had a print. It was not in too terrible shape.
Are these 35 millimeter prints?
No, they're 16.
16 millimeter, okay.
Yeah, all of my films basically were made for use like in schools.
Okay.
Because when I was growing up, all the history had happened in Denver. And I knew the history didn't happen in Denver. Pueblo existed long before any place else in the state.
Is that 16 or Super 16?
It's 16.
Okay.
Yeah. Blue Lights, most of it was shot 16. Some was shot 35, but it was all shot to blow up through Western Cine in Denver. They did all my films.
Okay.
But, I almost became a history major, and Pueblo has history that goes forever,
Yeah.
So in the Damon Runyon film, I was teaching at the university. I was teaching photography and filmmaking at what at that time was University of Southern Colorado, which is now Colorado State University. And I started making films when I started in photography at basically about age 11, doing little object animations, drawn animations, different kind of things. And then
by object animations, do you mean like stop motion?
Yeah,
or?
Stop motion.
Nice.
Yeah. And then when I was in high school, I did a number of films. One was called Concern 70, and it dealt with overpopulation. It dealt with the war in Vietnam, a number of different things. And that turned out quite good. That helped me get scholarship at what was then SCSC, Southern Colorado State College, before creating University of Southern Colorado. And once I started teaching out here, they had some Super 8 equipment. I didn't have Super 8. I'd done everything in regular 8. So I made a little film called Kayak, and it was about the boat race out of Salida. And it's an international boat race, and all these racers come from all over the world. And it turned out very, very good. Well, but on the basis of that, I was asked to do the Damon Runyon film, which was funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities through the Cara Humanities Program. And on that, they gave us $21,705.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. And we matched that.
That's such a curious number.
Isn't that funny?
I wonder what the extra 5 is for.
I don't know, but whatever. We could use every dollar. And so we got probably twice that much in in-kind support. Like I say, the city of Pueblo was great because we did not only a history of young Runion's life in Pueblo, but we also recreated a couple of his writings which were local. One was the story of Doc Brackett, which again we filmed all here, and another was a poem. Runyon wrote short stories. He became the highest paid short story writer of his time, and he wrote poetry, and one of his poems was called The Funeral of Madame Sarah Chase, and she was a local madame.
I actually just listened to a performance of that poem yesterday.
There you go. You know the poem.
Yeah. My friend Spencer Little, who is...
sure, Spencer.
Yeah. He's
from the museum. Guy.
He used to be be the curator of a local museum.
Yeah.
He's up in Fort Collins, but he visits Pueblo every now and then.
Yeah.
And he just visited this past weekend to give the Ladies of the Night walking tour.
Oh, good.
And he concluded it with a reading of
Madame Sarah Chase.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on that one, basically it takes place on Union, which is such a historic street. I mean,
Indeed.
Everybody that was anybody was on that street. And the city of Pueblo basically each weekend would dump dirt and cover the street for that block of Union. We filmed in that block, and then they'd clean it up.
During the
Sunday
filming
night.
they would...
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And then the next weekend they would do the next block, and the next weekend the next block, and the next weekend the next block. So we shot the whole thing on Union.
Oh, fascinating.
And an interesting sidelight of that film, when you make a film, you're never really sure about what the sort of side effects will be.
Yeah.
But in that one, I remembered Union as being, such an interesting place. And at that time, I think the city council was talking about tearing everything down and making a parking lot. And it's like, why are you going to have a parking lot? There's nothing there,
There's been too much of that already.
Yeah. And so in order to document it, I wanted to shoot that film on Union and document the buildings before they were destroyed.
Oh.
Now, as part of it, one of my good friends, Joe Paycheck, was my art director on that film, and the City Parks Department loaned us their cherry picker. And between various volunteers working with Joe, I had very specific shots, still photographs of what buildings and what parts of buildings we needed to fix up. And within those frames, they painted all the wood that covered the windows and fixed up the facades as much as they could. And we did the film, which ended up being distributed by Encyclopedia Britannica. It's in 30 languages or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And it won a Cine Award out of Washington, D.C., as did my second film, Zebulon Pike. But anyway, once that film was distributed, there was an article that ran in USA Today, which at that time was one of the first newspapers to print in color.
Oh,
and a chieftain photographer had taken some color pictures of Joe Paycheck in the City Parks cherry picker painting this facade of this thing. It ran in USA Today, along with a little article that said they're making this film about the writer Damon Runyon in Pueblo, Colorado, where he grew up, and they're shooting in a historic area of Pueblo known as Union Avenue that has a vast number of period films period buildings, structures,
beautiful architecture
from the 1880s.
Yeah.
Well, there were 3 real estate investors in Atlanta. They saw the article. They flew to Pueblo and they basically bought up everything they could find. And they invested a lot of money and they turned Union Avenue into what you see today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do they
Isn't that something?
Do you happen to know if they still own it?
Oh no, they've resold it. I'm sure all those
okay.
buildings have sold a number of times, but
Yeah.
they came in with the money and basically turned it into the nice area. When I had an office in Union Depot for probably 5 or 6 years, and at that time, Union Depot was not a place that most people would want to go. I mean,
Really?
Oh yeah, it was really run down, and I remember moving drunks out of the doorway to get into the office.
Wow.
So it's been gentrified greatly.
I was going to say that's a little. That's almost difficult to believe, given how beautiful
Isn't
the
it
building
nice?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've done a great job, and that attracted other money, and little by little, look at what you got now.
Yeah.
It's great, and again, all I was thinking is I want to get all these buildings on film before they're destroyed.
Yeah. Fun little architecture fact about the buildings on Union Avenue, and then also a bunch more sort of scattered throughout town. There's this really distinctive red sandstone that a lot of the buildings are made out of, and all of the buildings that are made with that were built between 1889 and 1891, because all of that sandstone comes from a quarry in Manitou Springs that got depleted really quickly.
There's all these nice gargoyles down there, and
oh yeah,
and it's something. If you look, if you go to the Pueblo County Historic Society and you look at the old photographs,
I'm not sure I've seen a gargoyle.
Union. Well, look,
there are grotesques.
You know where Fuel and Iron is?
Yes.
That just opened?
Yes.
Go right across the street, look at that corner.
Oh.
And there's a face.
Yes.
There's lots of faces.
That is an incredible carving. But it's not a gargoyle.
Yeah. But I think there's some gargoyles on the building that is right next to the Pueblo Bull Riders Association.
I'll have to look.
Yeah.
Because certainly there's a number of great carvings, but
yeah.
Perhaps this is me being overly pedantic, but as someone who's very interested in historic architecture,
right.
I like to use the word gargoyle really specifically.
Yeah, it's 3D.
And it has to be a water spout.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. And I'm also thinking about a building which is long gone, which where First Street and Main Street come together. There is a building there that's rectangular in shape. Okay. At one point in time, I think that's exactly where there was a 3 or 4 story building called Arthur's Castle.
Oh.
Which, where are we getting off the subject? But anyway, Arthur's Castle, and it did have 3-dimensional gargoyles. I don't know if there were drain spouts up.
I'll have to see if I can find some old photos of that.
They tore down. They should have some. I shot a lot of them.
Great.
Yeah.
So pulling back to the subject of filmmaking a bit, you mentioned the incredible amount of support that you got when filming Damon Runyon's Pueblo.
All the films.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So, I don't know to what degree you've kept up with the filmmaking scene here in Pueblo.
I really haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. Well, no, because once we lived in California from 89 to 93.
Okay.
And then we came back to Colorado. And since then, basically, I've been teaching in various colleges and universities all up and down the Front Range.
Okay. Teaching filmmaking? Or
I've taught filmmaking at Colorado Film School in Denver. I've taught at most of the community colleges. Springs, Denver, here, University of Colorado, Denver. I still teach art history for CSUP.
Cool.
It's all kinds of stuff, and photography. I've taught a lot of photography classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I'm becoming involved in the filmmaking scene here in Pueblo.
Good for you.
I recorded a short film for the local 72-hour film festival, which was not very good.
Just keep trying. Yeah, get better.
Yeah, this Sunday I'm recording a second one.
Good.
And I expect it to go much better because for my first one, well, first of all, you're operating under the constraint of writing and shooting and editing in 72 hours, which is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And on the day of the shooting, all of my cast and crew got sick.
Oh, boy.
So instead of it being me behind the camera and actors in front of it, the camera was on a tripod. I took over the main role, got my dad to say a few lines, and got a random stranger to be another character.
That's the hazards of independent filmmaking.
Indeed.
But the good thing about it is and to anybody that's listening that's thinking about making films, do your best work, put your best foot forward. If you're successful and you attract funding, and funding is the hard part of the whole thing. But generally I found each time I made a film, when I got another film funded, the budgets would expand greatly,
Yeah. So when you were getting films funded, were you primarily looking for like individual investors or production companies?
I funded films every which way you can imagine. My early films were me, and then
that's the stage I'm at.
Yeah. And then when I got Runyon, it was, like I say, a National Endowment for the Humanities, Humanities program thing.
And that's because it was an educational film?
Yeah. Well, your subject matter has a lot to do with, how you're going to get funding and what kind of market there is.
Right.
And Pueblo, over its entire existence, since the 1840s or before, has had various individuals do things here because there's water here, and in Colorado there's not much water in a lot of places.
That's right. We have the Arkansas River and a few
Arkansas
lakes.
and Fountain. I mean, where do you have two rivers coming together, So there's been various people here of national stature. And Armand Vorsay, who was the head of the humanities program when it was University of Southern Colorado, he came from back east, and he said, Damon, when you grew up here, this is where a lot of his characters, were based upon Pueblo people. Major writer, highest paid writer of his time. He had 30 of his stories become movies. We need to do something. And so he was the mover behind that. So between the Art Center and the university, they went after the grant, and we got the grant and then made the film. So that one was funded by the National Endowment through the State Humanities Agency, which I still occasionally work with. And then we finished that film, and really for that to satisfy that film, I think we just had to show it a couple times. And I'm saying we, meaning myself and the writer Joel Scherzer, who's still a great friend of mine.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, he moved out from the Bronx many moons ago and loves it here.
Pretty different locale.
Yeah. He says he got the best end of the deal moving to Pueblo.
Yeah, I used to live in Brooklyn.
Oh, there you go. I was just in New York about 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
And enjoyed it. I had a great time, wonderful time. So anyway, we had so much invested in this film. Our blood, sweat, and tears, the way you have to see a thing through.
Right.
And so I told the Colorado Humanities people, I said, I don't know if anybody wants to distribute this, but if you give me the rights to distribution, I'll try and find a distributor. And they said, okay. And so I talked to a lot of distributors, and we signed with Encyclopedia Britannica.
I did not know that they distributed films before today.
Well, they don't now.
Oh.
Because the business has changed so much.
Indeed.
Encyclopedia Britannica has really, it's been a hard time for encyclopedia publishers, because of the internet and stuff.
Of course.
But so they promoted it. They put it up for the Cine Award in Washington, which is, Cine means C-I-N-E, which stands for Council on International Non-Theatrical Events. Yeah. So
that seems like a very broad category.
It is a broad category. And so what it is it's industry professionals from the country, from California and the East, and they look at various films that are submitted, and if they choose your film, and mine got a Cine Golden Eagle Award, which meant that it could go on and represent the United States in overseas film festivals.
Oh.
And I got the same award on Pike.
Nice.
Much later. And then on Pike, so I got grant funding on that one, and I'd previously funded my films before that on let me see, on Pike. We Joel and I had rolled out of Runyon, and we wanted to make films.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put together a film that, again, had a lot of Pueblo history.
Yeah.
I had researched the Fort Pueblo massacre, which was in 1854. I think it was Christmas Eve, 1854. And I had done a lot of work with the library here, with their genealogy area and their Western research area. And through Joanne Dodds, who was the librarian here for that area at that time, I said, do you have contemporary accounts of that massacre? Because I knew it was, just this amazing thing. And she referred me to 3 contemporary accounts, and so I researched those. And between those 3 accounts, I was able to put together a timeline of exactly what happened to everybody and so forth for that. Well, if I would have made that film, it would have been a terribly bloody, gory film. I mean,
it has massacre in the name.
It has massacre in the name, so you could have an idea. They basically killed all of these Taos traders. They captured 1 woman and 2 boys. They ended up killing the woman shortly after they took her from the spot. The boys existed with Indians for quite a while, but then they what would I say? One escaped, and then the other one was bargained for about 10 years later, and they got them back.
10 years, wow.
Yeah, so he was with the Indians for 10 years. So here I had this thing, and I thought, I can't film this. No way. No. So we used that historical timeline and information as the basis for a film that we call Red Wind, that Joel wrote. And we even shot a trailer for it in 35. And basically the story is that the sins of the fathers are visited upon their descendants in contemporary Colorado, based on this thing. And so then these people slowly but surely sort of understand what happened, and there's the history that comes into it.
Yeah.
And so we had this all written, and through the Runyon film, we found an oil man backer, and he basically, we took a number of trips to California, and I made a number of contacts and started lots of friendships in LA. And the oil business goes up, and then the oil business goes down, and it was like, okay, where is he? What's happening?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And so we had the Runyon film finished, which helped attract him, and then with his with his backing and so forth, that sort of went away. Well, we went and we showed the Runyon film to every group that wanted us to speak. And so we showed it to probably 50-some civic groups, women's clubs, men's clubs, Eagles, this, that, the other. And in doing that, I found another local oil man, who is much richer than the first one, had his own jet, parked at the airport.
All right.
We would fly to L.A. We would stop in Las Vegas for breakfast, and I was in Burbank by 11 or so. And so his idea was we would fund through a investment group, which was in Aurora and had investors all over the country. We would go and we'd raise roughly the $500,000 to do Red Wind. And they released, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 prospectuses. And when you go for investment at this level, now you're doing a prospectus, and you bring in the lawyers, and it becomes rather involved. And generally a prospectus basically says in a number of different ways, you're crazy to give these people money, because you're going to lose it, right? So anyway, oil business goes up, oil business goes down, So suddenly it's like, okay, where is this guy now? What happened to him?
Oh, goodness.
But I had made good contacts with this investment group, and they said, we want to be involved with you. He's having this trouble. We'll do this separately. We weren't sure that we could get that free. So at that point in time, I had an assistant, Brian Sisson.
What do you mean get that free?
Well, I mean, the guy was involved, in sustaining us during the time of the creation of the Red Wind script. Mm-hmm. So we weren't sure what entanglements we would have with that property.
He might have rights to the script.
Right.
Okay.
We didn't know what would happen. So it was during this time period when I made Pike that a young man came into my office in the depot, and he realized that I was going to make movies with or without, no matter hell or high water. And his name was Brian Sisson. And his dad was one of the heads of the engineering department out at the university. And Brian was my assistant for a number of years. And so between Brian and myself, we generated 3 other scripts. But when you're writing, it's very easy for a small project to become a very big project. Right? And so we still were trying to raise, through all these prospectuses, money for Red Wind, and we had it camera ready. I'm talking production boards ready, locations cleared. The script was written around a lot of amazing locations in southern Colorado, and they couldn't raise it. And so finally, the way a prospectus goes, if you're looking for a lot of money, they'll have a certain amount. If you don't reach that amount, you have to close that prospectus. You don't get to keep the money. And they could never reach it. And so finally I went to them.
Sounds like modern-day crowdfunding.
Probably. Yeah. It's very similar.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so then they were getting ready to pack up shop on the I think 3rd or 4th offering. And I finally went to him and said, look, you tell me how much money you have raised, and we will come back in two weeks with a project. And they told me the amount, and we came back to Pueblo, and Brian and I basically put together the script for Curse of the Blue Lights.
All right.
So it's because Red Wind didn't get funded that you have Blue Lights.
Okay. And yeah, Curse of the Blue Lights is a really dramatic difference. Like it's very different from your other films.
Yeah.
So
totally narrative. Yep.
Yeah, not historical. I mean, it has a lot of like local elements in it.
It has some local elements. For instance, Muldoon Man. I was raised in Beulah, and on the way to Beulah, there's Muldoon Hill, and it gets its name from a guy that in the time of P.T. Barnum, he tried selling P.T. Barnum this big thing he built.
That he pretended was a corpse of a missing link.
and it took on the name of Muldoon Man. So if you Google it, you'll probably see a picture of it. But that was in there, and then the Blue Lights parking area is in there, and so forth. So yeah, every one of the films has some local lore.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say that it wasn't historical. I should say that it was fictional.
It is.
Yeah,
totally fictional.
As opposed to your earlier works.
Yeah, right.
And then was Blue Lights the last movie that you made?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Why?
Because I had this building here, and I had
the place where you built the sets?
Yes, yes. Which is, like I say, Ferguson's Plumbing, which is I think it's 1 block south of the Art Center on Santa Fe. Okay. It was a plumbing supply place before we moved in there. When we moved in there, turned it into a movie studio. We had the big graveyard set on the first floor. We had 5 standing sets in there at one time or another.
Wow.
Downstairs we had the Ghoul's Chamber, and we had the Witch's Den.
That makes sense.
And we had a big makeup effects area, because that film is heavy, heavy makeup effects.
Indeed.
When we came back, I told Brian, I said, he said, I know what kind of films, really work well and stuff, and I wasn't that crazy about it, but you got some possibility on some money to make a feature film, go for it, So I said, and he loved makeup effects. This was, he was doing all these little things like I had been doing with the stop motion filmmaking. When he was that age, he was making creatures and so forth, And so I said, if you guys think you can do this, and it was him, his brother Mark, and Dave Romero. Those three guys, they all love makeup effects.
Any connection to Romero's Cafe out on the Mesa?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not sure. But I said, if you guys think you can do an effect, I'll write it in. So guess what? It turned into an effects-heavy film.
That's what I'm filming on Sunday.
Yeah. And so I think we filmed pretty much every effect, but we just finally ran out of time and money. We had one thing where these kids happen to see these ghouls, and they become in this big fight to, save the world, of course. And they're trying to figure out what these things are and why they're doing what they're doing. And in one part of it, we had one of the kids approach a talking tree or a talking door, and the door, gave them a little more exposition about who these were. We never got around to that. I'm sure they could have done it. They did everything else.
Yeah.
But because when we finished that film, we gave it to a film rep who supposedly had worked with Coppola and a number of other people, and they said, if you've got him, because I had a friend that was a reader at Warner's, and she said, if you can get him, he's gold. He's represented everybody. We gave it to him. He basically did nothing for a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
So that's when I became involved, moved out there, got the distribution deals, had to threaten a number of them with legal to get them to pay.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd just sit across the desk from you and say, I don't care what you do. We're not going to pay you anything. And that's where good old Max came in, because he said, I don't care if you guys make $1, you're going to give John his money, or you're going to be ruined here. And he could have done it. He really could have done it. But without that help, and that's another part of filmmaking that you don't learn about, in film school.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that your films are still in distribution.
I'm mainly distributing now.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had...
Because I own all the rights.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
if the rights were locked up anywhere.
Well, it's like Runyon. All these prints had gone bad, and if a film doesn't exist in digital, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's a digital world.
Yes.
And I had funded the digitization of Zebulon Pike on the 200th anniversary of his trek through Colorado, which was in 2006.
Nice. Yeah.
And it has sold excellently to historians and so forth all over.
Good.
And it also got another award, which was from the, accommodation from the state and local historians. It's a national group of historians and museum directors across the country, and they got it this award because it's so damned accurate.
Yeah. So speaking of digitizing things, when I first heard about, before we met for the first time, when I first heard about your work, I thought, oh, okay, I bet I can find this on streaming and then I can watch it.
And no streaming.
No.
You don't have any control over it, really. It's another thing. Anytime you get now maybe it's changed, but when I initially checked into it, it's like this. The film business, nobody trusts anybody. Okay? So you have the filmmaker that goes to the distributor.
Right.
You have the distributor that goes to the exhibitor.
Yes.
And at each level, people are trying to check up to find out what's really happening.
Yes.
So like the distributors have people that go to the theaters and basically count bodies.
Oh.
Yeah.
To make sure that the ticket sale is accurate.
What the exhibitor is saying
is what's
happening,
really happening.
Is what's happening.
Yeah.
They don't have 200 people and they say, oh, there's only 10.
Right.
So.
Interesting. Yeah. I do think things have changed a little, and if you're interested in trying to get it online, we can talk about that a bit more after the microphone's
I'm always
turned
interested. Yeah, but I haven't made any movies since Blue Lights because we went out there and we were out there 4 years, and I mean, California, we were definitely settled and so forth, and but we just like Colorado so much better. And I wanted my kids to know their grandparents. I wanted them to know how to ski. You know, I mean, it's just such a. We just felt it was just so much better lifestyle. Yeah. So then when we moved back, I got involved teaching, and then here we go, all these years later.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if somebody comes in the door with, $500,000, we'll talk.
Well, I certainly don't have $500,000, but I grew up in Denver, and
oh, really?
Yeah.
Where at?
At the time, it was unincorporated Arapahoe County,
okay.
And now it's Centennial.
Oh, sure.
So south side.
Yeah, I taught at Arapahoe Community College. I taught at Community College of Denver.
Nice.
Yeah. Aurora. Geez. Every college in Denver.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Colorado Film School, and that was interesting because they had there's just a lot of young students that were just hard bitten to make movies.
Yeah.
And it takes that, because basically when you're trying to do such large projects, basically the world is telling you no, and you're saying I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to be really concentrated on that goal, because it isn't going to happen by itself.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
So you've mentioned that you filmed on a variety of film stocks. Mm-hmm. So from 35 millimeter, which is the most expensive, down to 8 millimeter, which is
right.
I think Super 8 was probably the cheapest.
Well, or was, 8 was probably, I don't know. Super 8, pretty close.
But
Super 8 had the nice thing that it was like 30 or 50% larger image.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
But the equipment was more expensive because it could record sound, which opened up a whole new territory. See,
because you had to do sync sound on the 8.
Yeah. See? Yeah. And 8 millimeter is basically 16 stock that's slit.
Right.
Matter of fact, I even got into the
literally
processing.
in many cases.
Yes, that's 8 millimeter. I even got into the processing of my early 8 millimeter films. So I would shoot them and so forth, and then I had a kit and a little tank and stuff, and you could actually process your own black and white film.
Yeah. Have you shot on digital at all?
Oh, I shoot them with my phone all the time.
Do you make videos on your phone? Or just
not really,
photographs?
Not really, yeah. Mainly, okay. It's just so handy. You have your camera all the time. You know, so, but
that I'm going to be using several cameras to get coverage on my thing on Sunday, and my phone is one of them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's I've a number of people have told me about people shooting on iPhones. iPhone Pro, because it's got all 3 lenses. It shoots 4K. I mean, it's incredible.
So does mine, and it's much cheaper than the iPhone Pro.
Yeah, it's amazing how the technology has gotten so much easier.
Indeed.
Because when I started, it was like a mystery of how do you do all that? How do you shoot sync sound? What kind of equipment? And with the second oil man, he loved equipment, and so I ended up buying out a friend of my father's. My father was on local TV for a decade, and so through him I met a lot of people that had been in movies and so forth, and his main cameraman he later left TV and went into film production, and he had a whole film production company, and so I basically bought him out. Got a 16 BL, which is a beautiful camera. It's like a watch. It was just so precise and beautiful. Got a Niagara setup, Sennheiser mics, Moviola, film editing benches, desk chairs. It was a whole production company. And then we even went and invested, and I ended up purchasing a 35 2C, which was really the vaunted camera of independent filmmakers that wanted to shoot in 35. Matter of fact, my camera was used on a number of James Bond films.
Oh, the literal physical camera was used?
The literal physical camera, yeah. Thunderball,
wow.
All the underwater stuff, that's my camera. I think You Only Live Twice, there's some underwater stuff that
Interesting.
I bought it from Lamar Bourne, a fine old cinematographer The guy was born in Provo, Utah, but he ended up in La Jolla, California. And so through American Cinematographer magazine, whom I had written an article on Runyon for years earlier, we found Lamar, and he was selling out all of his stuff. So I bought all of his cases. We got like 20 cases or something. His tripod systems, everything.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that technology, I went from that to what you can do now,
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And for context for anyone listening, this conversation we are recording on a Blue Yeti microphone that is plugged into my Android phone, and hopefully the audio quality is going to be good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, this is my first time recording with this setup. I usually record on the internet, so...
Yeah. But yeah, just the learning of that technology was just such a major thing.
Yeah.
How does all this stuff work? Where do you find it? It's so expensive.
Yeah.
But when we finally moved into Tamarack Studios, Tamarack Productions being my company that I'd formed with Joel many years earlier, we had a complete 16mm setup, a complete 35mm setup, a complete editing setup, complete sound, complete lighting. I mean, we were totally self-contained. So 2 producers from Denver, as a matter of fact, approached me about it because they knew I had all this stuff, and they toured the place, and they knew what we had done with it, what they could do with it. Basically, I was planning on, if they got their money, I would hold on to that building and we would continue with film production. Neither one raised enough money, and therefore we got out of there. The university really wanted me to buy it, but no way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fascinating. I read a lot of books about film production, and a lot of them are sort of retrospectives written by filmmakers in various different eras, and one very common recurring theme is just the expense of purchasing film stock.
Oh, yeah.
And to think
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Of money.
To think that that's just not a factor nowadays when you're shooting on digital.
Yeah, because you can shoot something, watch it, and if it's not right, you can just do it again.
Yeah, and purchasing several hours of memory to record on costs you like less than $50.
Oh yeah. I have my films on digital, and they're all in these little cassette little things, and they hold so much stuff. They hold
cassettes
so much
with tape.
It's digital hard drives, backup drives.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Yeah, but like the kind that spins as opposed to.
They're all
solid state.
Solid state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever I get these films digitized, or somebody gets them digitized and I get a copy, it's a little hard drive, that you plug in, So, but yeah, every movie that you see that was shot on film, just figure that it was shot probably 3 times, 6 times, 8 times, because you're doing that many takes.
Right.
And if it's a difficult action within that, particular shot, it might take 20 times to get it right.
Yeah.
So you're looking at expending a lot more on film stock many times over that 90 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. I read Robert Rodriguez's book.
El Mariachi.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
He famously made El Mariachi for a budget of $7,000.
Sold his blood.
Yeah. Was a volunteer for medical experiments.
That's how devoted you have to be.
Yeah.
There you go.
But he breaks down the budget in his book, and it's basically
film stock.
It's almost entirely film stock.
Yeah.
Everything else he got for free, and then there was a little bit of money that he spent, bribing the local police.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just entirely
and nothing
film
for
stock.
actors. They're all friends, probably. All
That's right.
local locations.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit for one of the actors. There was one, like the female lead was a professional. But she was, I think she was like I can't remember with enough confidence to assert it.
And I think he shot that with a 2C.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Pretty sure.
I don't remember, but I believe you.
Yeah, I found out about the 2C because I researched how these people became directors. There's a really good book on Stanley Kubrick. And Stanley Kubrick was a still photographer mainly for look. And then he did a short film, I believe with a 2C, on a what was it, a doctor that flew different places and treated people or something. And that's sort of what attracted attention of distributors and funders and so forth. And in that film, he talks about if he has a camera and he has an actor, he's going to make a movie. And that's one thing that I always had in my head. As long as I've got a camera and it's me and I have somebody to film, you got a movie.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You'll finish it.
Yeah.
And problems will arise, and the bigger the project, the bigger the problems that arise. But if you just sort of look at that there is a way around this or that problem, And it's another thing is that no matter how simple you think it will be, it's always many times over more complex. Because like take the Pike film.
Sure.
I went in the county courthouse, and there's a stair, and there's a big, beautiful old painting from around 1900 of Zebulon Pike and his men with a horse or two, and he's looking at Pike's Peak. And I had just done all of these, closed interiors for Runyon, and I thought, oh, this will be nice. We'll be outside, Look at, they're just wearing regular clothing, no big thing. No, it turned out they had a transitional uniform between the Revolution and the War of 1812 that didn't exist.
Yeah, didn't have those high collars that they had later on.
And then, then you track down the historians and so forth, and they have a say-so, yay or nay, whether you're going to use these saddles, which were made around the Civil War, or you're going to use an 1830 saddle, which is hard to locate.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, looking at Zebulon Pike and the Blue Mountain, it does not look like an easy shoot.
No, it's tough. All that
a lot
snow.
of animals.
Oh, yeah.
Shooting on location.
Yeah, and we filmed across the state of Colorado in his footsteps. If he's sleeping in a cave, we're shooting in that cave. If he's fording a river, we're doing the same thing. If he, anything that he runs into.
Yeah. So here's a terminology question.
Yeah.
People use the phrase shooting on location to mean basically not shooting on a set.
Right.
Is there a word that means specifically we're not just shooting on a location, we're shooting on the location where this actually happened?
I don't think so, but I've always, mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because we would, and we had basically a mounted colonial cavalry troop 30 years before there were cavalry. The U.S. cavalry didn't form until around 1830s, and this film was 1806, 1807.
Yeah.
So when we shot, way out east, 100 miles, we had to transport horses and men 100 miles. Same thing when we went through the blizzards. It was all horses. When we went through South Park, yeah. So on that film, I interviewed people, and I would hold a thing at the Sangre de Cristo Art Center for people that were interested. And you'd find people that wanted to work on films, and you'd also have a lot of people that wanted to act in them. Generally, you would get maybe around 500-600 people.
Oh, my goodness.
So then you would go through, and you're looking for certain types. And I still do that to this day. I'll see somebody, and I'll think, boy, they'd be perfect for a gangster film in 1930 Chicago. Or this guy belongs on a street in 1880. You just look at him and it's like, whoa, this is perfect.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about the process that you used to get all of that support from the city of Pueblo that you got.
Well, the first one, like I say, was Damon Reynolds Pueblo, and the university was involved, and I was teaching at the university at the time.
Okay.
I used a lot of my film students. The city was involved through the Arts Center, and we actually had a board of 6 or 8 people, people that taught literature at the university. Dodds was on there as a historian, and so we had this whole thing, and it made it difficult on the finalization of the writing because all of those people had to be satisfied that they got certain things that they wanted into the film. Oh yeah, lots of fun.
Any time you have a lot of
you got a committee.
Yeah,
which is a pain. Yeah.
Yes,
but
for
anyway,
for any project,
it had that kind of backing. So. If we told somebody on the city that we needed this or that, they were So I shot a lot of stuff from the top of the cherry picker.
Right.
And we, like I say, the city dumping dirt. We used a lot of different locations.
So do you mean you shot a lot of behind-the-scenes things?
No.
Or
they're in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actual stuff.
Yeah. And so then do you think that... So it sounds like you probably got a lot of extra support cooperation on that one because it was so historical.
Yeah, it was a historic thing.
And then
Pueblo liked a new thing like filmmaking, Yeah. And again, if you're in a small town, I think it's really behooves you to make movies where you're at.
Yes.
Don't go to Burbank because it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to shoot on a nothing street, nothing special. And so, if you become the filmmaker of that area, you'll get a lot of backing, a lot of support. So, like, we had $21,705. I'm sure we doubled or tripled that in kind.
Yeah.
Easily.
So do you think that you would have gotten as much support for Curse of the Blue Lights if you hadn't already made those other historical ones? No, because I built up a
history.
Okay.
I built up a history.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
people
thinking.
were able to read all these articles. I mean, the Chieftain covered everything we did. Channel 5, which was in Pueblo, hadn't moved to Springs yet, covered everything. And so I made Runyon. They saw where I got the award. They saw where I started a company with Joel, Tamarack Productions, in like 82, I think it was. And then they saw I was doing a film on Pike, and it was very colorful, and the Chieftain and all the... I mean, I had KOA come down when we were shooting all the Indians along the Arkansas, so they were covering it. And various newspapers. And so you have to sort of build a reputation because people are investing in you.
Yeah.
They really are. They're believing in you, and you feel a lot of responsibility. If I have ulcers, that's why. Because you feel that responsibility. But yeah, you develop a following, and so then when I did Pike, and it got 2 awards, and then they could see that we moved into the big building, so everybody wanted to be involved in that. And so, like, Marvin's Memorials gave us, broken headstones for that set. See?
Yeah.
What do you call it? A company that, grows grass, that you can roll out.
Turf.
There we go. I couldn't think of the word. Yep. They provided us a lot of turf, and it takes all of that when you're creating a new reality in that frame.
Yeah.
That's what has always fascinated me about films. As long as it's in that frame, that is a new, different reality.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are still involved in any of those, like in the city government or anything, who remember this.
I know there's still a lot of people that remember it.
Okay.
Because a lot of them have purchased films, or whatever from me. And I do showings all the time. I mean...
Hey, that's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. Right. Showed Pike here at the library. Yeah.
Exactly.
So different civic groups will approach me, and if it's for a good, civic thing that I believe in, I'll say, go ahead, and, they'll show it.
Yeah.
And if they want me to come, do a question and answer, I'll do that, And that's how you build up a reputation, so that people will believe in you. If you can get some degrees before you do all this, that definitely helps. Like I have, 3 degrees in photography and filmmaking, so that helps.
Yeah, so you've been teaching filmmaking for decades now.
I've been teaching photography, filmmaking, art history, art appreciation, a lot of different stuff. But yeah, I've taught filmmaking. I was the last person to teach filmmaking out at what is now CSUP.
I think there's someone teaching it now.
I don't know. Filmmaking. I'm talking real filmmaking with film.
I think there is. Oh, with film.
With film.
With
I'm
film
talking
specifically.
Actual film. Yeah,
not digital.
They had a 35mm IMO out there.
Oh.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I can't speak to
that. And as a matter of fact, one of my students made a film, and he even submitted it to the student, Academy Awards and so forth. And it was a good film.
Great.
It was good. Yeah.
So, it sounds like you have a particular love for film specifically as opposed to digital.
Well, I mean, any way you can generate an image. I mean, what started me on all this was photography, and I'm a fine art photographer. I've exhibited all over. I have my photographs in lots of books, and I'm even finishing up a book of all of my photographs. And film and photography, I was doing, simultaneously a lot of the same stuff. I think digital is magical,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of my films digitized, and I mean it's just so much easier. When I was cutting these films either on an editing table or with a moviola, the mechanisms were like a moviola. It would eat more film quicker than you could, and then, what a mess. And when you cut film, you have to figure out, let's say you're doing a lap dissolve, you have to figure out how many frames before that image comes up full, and you have to allow for all those things, whereas now you try a dissolve, doesn't look good, okay, let's try a different length, click in, click, look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much easier. It's like day and night.
Yeah.
But I did love when I shot 35, and I had a 5-minute segment of blue lights, which was 35, and I love shooting 35.
Which segment was that?
Well, we had one segment of blue lights, which was blown up from 16, and then I have a 5-minute trailer for Red Wind, which we shot in the depot. And editing 35 is like it's like you have a belt.
Yeah.
It's so big
that
you can actually cut between the frames, whereas when you're editing 16, the splice actually goes into the frame, so you have to be very careful, and that's why you have A-B rolls.
Oh.
And A roll will have your first shot, B roll will have your second shot, A will have your third shot, and so forth. So all your even numbered shots are in your B, and all your odd number shots are in number A. But you have to be very careful about that. And then you have a black filler in between so that those splices don't show up. But in 35, what's nice is you can make a cut because the frame line is so thick it doesn't show up. But I'll tell you, when I shot 35,
stressful and meticulous.
Oh yeah, when I shot 35 and saw it on a big screen, it just blows you away.
It's beautiful.
It's just beautiful. Film is a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah, I saw what must have been like a really good early print of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre here at the Mesa Drive-In.
There you go. George Romero.
That's not a George Romero film. That's Tobe Hooper.
Oh, Tobe Hooper. You're right. Right. Why am I thinking George Romero?
He did
Night of the Living Dead.
Yes. Yeah.
Getting mixed up here.
Yeah. And it was so clear compared to any version of it that I'd ever seen before that I almost wondered whether it was like digitally cleaned up or something, because I could see details in it that I'd never seen before, and they almost sort of took me out of it because it made it easier to tell which parts of what I was looking at were set dressing versus what was there naturally.
Yeah.
Whereas
you have to be very careful with film.
Yeah.
Film, to this day, you can take an early silent film by, let's say, Chaplin or somebody.
Yeah.
And it has many times over more information than you have in digital.
Yeah.
Many times over.
It's
analog, you know.
Depending on the condition that the physical film is in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's a lousy original, it's going to be lousy digital. But
or if it's just not been stored well.
And Western Cine, which is, I don't think they're around anymore. They became Cinema something or other for a few years. But Western Cinema, they in large part, other than doing films by John Denver and nature specials by Marty Stouffer and his brother in Aspen, their main bread and butter was restoration of Hollywood films. So they had standing accounts with all the majors, basically bringing back their old films. They used to be done on Pearl.
Yeah.
And they would basically get the originals and they would create these beautiful, they showed me some of the stuff they were working on, and it was just dazzling. black and white photography with Hollywood lighting. It was just dazzling.
Yeah.
So some of the digital things that you can see now, you really get an idea how beautiful those films were in their original condition.
Yeah. My favorite movie is Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
The 1927 Fritz Lang.
Fritz Lang.
And that is one where there's a bunch of different versions of it because different people had different prints of it.
Oh, yeah.
And different, and nowadays when you watch, the most complete version you can, it'll be this, this one scene that's in this beautiful, pristine, perfectly preserved. Yeah. And then the next scene is incredibly blurry.
You know why that happens? It's the damn distributors again. Because when you sign a deal with a distributor, quite often it's like, oh, well, we don't like these scenes, we're going to cut these. And that's why you get these different versions, that some have all these other scenes, some don't have these scenes, because nobody has, most people other than Francis Ford Coppola or so, you don't have final cut. You don't have final say-so.
Right.
Because basically they'll say, okay, we have this deal, and this is the terms. And it's like, okay, do I get my film distributed or do I not get my film distributed?
Yeah. Yeah, with Metropolis, it's really interesting that they have those edited versions of it that are still in pristine condition. And then I remember, I guess about 10 years ago now, they found a more complete version in a private collector. Some rich Brazilian had bought an original
in an attic someplace.
Exactly, and so it was in terrible condition, but it had scenes that weren't available anywhere else.
Oh yeah. So when you hit those scenes, it's kind of a rough patch.
Exactly.
For a little bit,
exactly.
Scratches.
Yeah. Here's 2 minutes of blurry, but it exists.
Yeah. Well, like on Blue Lights, it was so funny. Some distributor, someplace decided, oh, we're going to cut out this stuff, and this was in 88, 89 when we did these distribution deals. But they wanted a certain rating, and the Motion Picture Association, which is basically producers, they used to be real shits. I don't think they're that bad anymore, but they were then.
I've heard they're still that bad.
Because they would go into our thing and they'd say, oh, you have this body sliced in half. We can't leave that. So they went through and they knocked out, 5 minutes or something.
Ugh.
And it was like, are you kidding? Schwarzenegger is melting people. He is doing all these things. But it was their film.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
That's one thing I've heard a lot of times is that the MPAA is much harsher on independent films.
Well, it's competition.
Yeah.
It's competition.
Yeah.
So if they see, well, gee, we can, do, but I don't know that they do that anymore because everything is, has spread out and is so much, more broadly done now.
Yeah, I'm not sure to what degree it is. I know that a lot of independent filmmakers these days, especially if they're only going to be distributing online, if they're not trying to get into theaters,
why go to them?
Then they just release it unrated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The whole situation is really changed.
Yeah,
lots changes.
Yeah.
Well, the technology and just being able to find this equipment at one point was a blockage to most people.
And now everyone has it in their pocket.
And everybody's got it in their pocket. Yeah. Well, you can edit your movie on your computer.
Yeah. DaVinci Resolve is a professional grade editing software, and it's free and open source.
Yeah.
So no need to buy a $5,000 Moviola.
Right.
So, given these changes that we just discussed and all of the changes that you lived through in your career, where do you see the future of independent cinema?
Oh, my God. Well, I think it's more broadly available because of the technology. The easy, ready access to all this stuff. So I think people can, much more easily become involved.
Yeah.
They're not faced with the technology, problems. The massive expense,
Yeah.
Like, like we were talking about, like for film stock and stuff, You could shoot stuff, you can look at it, you can say, well, it's not right, let's do this, or wouldn't it be better if we do that? So you're not, burning through all this stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
I'm always happy to talk about movies.
Yeah. And I'm going to go check out a copy of Damon Runyon's Pueblo here in the Rawlings Branch Library here in Pueblo, Colorado.
Yep, they got one. They got one of everything.
Great.